The best contesting schools. We are going to have 4 rounds, just as we did with the first one. First round, 5 rounds of questions. Second round, 5 rounds of questions. The problem of the day, and then riddles. You have 10 seconds in this round to respond to a question. No bonus question per the nature of the questions. First question going to St. Augustine's College. Which of the following is not a feature of a capitalist economy? A. Private ownership of resources. B. Government control of major industries. C. Profit motive. D. Competition among firms. B. Government control of major industry. Correct for 3 points. Next question to Aggrey Memorial Senior High. A shift in the demand curve to the right may be caused by A. decrease in consumer income. B. An increase in the price of the product in question. C. An increase in consumer income. D. A decrease in the price of a substitute. C. An increase in the income, an increase in consumer income. That is correct for 3 points. Adisadel College. Which of the following describes opportunity cost? A. The money cost of a product. B. The next best alternative forgone. C. The additional cost of production. D. The total cost incurred in production.
The answer is B.
B, and that is correct for 3 points. St. Augustine's College. If the price of a product increases and the quantity demanded falls slightly, demand is said to be A. Perfectly elastic. B. Elastic. C. Inelastic. D. Unitary elastic. Oh, you can say it. Inelastic, that is correct for 3 points. Please check their microphones for me. Next question to Aggrey Memorial. Which of the following is not a future? No, I think the question repeated itself. Sorry. Aggrey Memorial. A system of farming where only a small plot of land is used is known as A. Peasant farming. B. Commercial farming. C. Plantation farming. D. Extensive farming.
A.
A. Peasant farming. That is correct for 3 points. Next question to Adisadel College. Which of the following is not an advantage of privatization? A. Increased efficiency. B. Greater government control. C. Attraction of foreign investments. D. Revenue generation for governments.
B.
D.
Yes.
D says revenue generation for government. I'm sorry, that is not correct. The correct answer is greater government control. When government decides to privatize, government loses control of specific industries to the private sector. The third round of questions, starting with St. Augustine's College. The use of more labor than capital in production is referred to as labor-intensive production. B. Human capital-intensive production. C. People-intensive production. D. Large-scale production.
E.
And that is correct for 3 points. Next question to Aggrey Memorial. Which of the following is used to measure the economic growth of a country? A, price index. B, national income. C, balance of payments. D, unemployment rate. And that is correct for 3 points. Next question to Adisadel College. A tax whose rate falls as income rises is referred to as A, progressive. B, regressive. C, proportional. D, direct. And that is correct for 3 points. Next question to St. Augustine's College. The fourth round of questions in this round. The gross national product, GNP, is defined as A, GDP plus net exports. B, GDP plus income earned by nationals abroad. C, national income plus subsidies. D, net income minus depreciation. B, GDP plus net income earned by nationals abroad. That is correct for 3 points. Next question going to Aggrey Memorial. A fall in a country's real output over time leads to A, increase in per capita income. B, rise in the standard of living. C, increase in exports. D, fall in the standard of living.
Fall in the standard of.
That is correct for 3 points. At Adisadel College, the speculative motive for holding money is A, to buy goods in the future. B, to provide for unforeseen expenses. C, to take advantage of changes in interest rates. D, to meet day-to-day expenses.
So I see.
C, to take advantage of changes in interest rates in the future. That is correct for 3 points. The last round of questions in this round. First question going to St. Augustine's. An increase in wage costs is likely to lead to A, cost push inflation. B, demand pull inflation. C, a decrease in production. D, a decrease in prices. A, cost push inflation. That is correct for 3 points. Next question going to Aggrey Memorial. The main or major source of profit for commercial banks is A, deposits from the public. B, interest on loans. C, fees from ATM cards. D, central bank reserves.
A.
A says deposits from the public. I'm sorry, that is not correct. Deposit from the public does not constitute profits. You may have a large deposit, but if you don't earn any income from it, they will come and withdraw. When they withdraw, it's not your money, it's a liability, right? And so the correct answer is interest from loans, right? Okay. Next question, the last round of questions in this round, going to Adisadel College. If the government wants to reduce consumption of certain goods in the economy, it should A, subsidize them. B, reduce taxes on them. C, impose taxes on them. D, abolish excise duties on them.
The answer is C.
Impose taxes to raise their prices. That is correct for 3 points. And that brings us to the end of round 1. St. Augustines, how has it been for you?
With God by our side, I think everything is going on smoothly.
Everything is going well. So far, so good. Okay. Aggrey Memorial.
Good round so far.
It has been a good round so far. So far, so good. Okay. Thank you. Next, Adisadel College.
We know this has not been our best round though, but we know God will grant us the finishing grace.
This has not been your best round, but we hope that things will get better in the subsequent rounds. Let's give it up to our contesting schools. At the end of round 1, St. Augustine is leading with 15 points. Let's give it up to them for that wonderful performance. There is a tie between Aggrey Memorial and Adisadel College at 12 points. Round 2. You have 5 seconds to respond to a question. We are going to read statements, respond true or false. If you get it correct, 2 points. Wrong, -1. You have the option to choose not to answer the question. First question going to St. Augustine's College. Inflation always increases the real value of money.
False.
And that is correct for 2 points. Inflation rather reduces the real value of money and not the other way round. A budget deficit means government is embarking on an expansionary fiscal policy. A budget deficit means government is embarking on an expansionary fiscal policy.
True.
That is correct for 2 points. In an expansionary fiscal policy, government increases expenditure beyond its resources, and that may create a deficit. Next question going to Adisadel College. The Ministry of Finance is responsible for the conduct of monetary policies in Ghana.
It's a false statement.
That is a false statement. The conduct of monetary policies is the mandate of the Central Bank of Ghana. Next question going to St. Augustine's College. A progressive tax system imposes a heavier burden on high income earners relative to low income earners in percentage terms.
True.
And that is correct for 2 points. Next question going to Aggrey Memorial School. When the total utility curve is falling, marginal utility is negative.
True.
And that is correct for 2 points. When the total utility curve is falling, meaning the change in the slope is negative. And that means marginal utility is falling. Next question, going to Adisadel College. Public goods, pure public goods in this case, are said to be non-excludable and non-rivalrous.
It's true.
That is correct for 2 points. Pure public goods like national defense are non-excludable. You cannot exclude somebody from enjoying because the person did not pay, right? And they are also non-rivalrous. How much I consume does not reduce how much you consume. Fourth round of questions. The third. Okay. Next question, going to St. Augustine's College. The monopolies can influence price by cutting output level.
True.
That is correct for 2 points. Next question to Aggrey Memorial. Monopolistic competition features product differentiation and free entry and exits.
True.
That is correct for 2 points. The central bank may reduce the policy rate in order to conduct an expansionary monetary policy.
It's false.
-1. To conduct an expansionary monetary policy, the central bank wants to increase money supply. When you cut the policy rate feeds into the average interest rate of the banking system. And so banks will also cut their interest rates. And that will encourage more people to borrow or to lend to the public. So credit creation increases, which increase credit-induced spending. Okay, -1 for Adisadel College. St. Augustine's College. In order to conduct an expansionary fiscal policy, government may choose to increase the tax rates.
False.
That is correct for 2 points. To conduct an expansionary fiscal policy, government may reduce the tax rates, which increases disposable incomes in order to enhance aggregate spending. Next question to Aggrey Memorial School. One way of conducting a restrictionary monetary policy is to increase the cash reserve ratio of commercial banks. Come again.
False.
False. I'm sorry, that is not correct. To impose or to conduct a restrictionary monetary policy, the central bank may raise the cash reserve ratio. How much of the deposits or the proportion of deposits mobilized from the public that the banks have to keep with the central bank? And when that increases, it reduces the ability of the banks to create credits, which helps to implement a restrictionary monetary policy. Next question, going to Adisadel College. Inflation is the persistent rise in the average price level. Inflation is the persistent rise in the average price level of goods and services in an economy within a defined period of time.
A true statement.
A true statement indeed. That is correct for 2 points. Next question, going to St. Augustine's College. An inflationary gap occurs when aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply at the full employment level of output.
True.
And that is correct for 2 points. Next question, going to Aggrey Memorial School. Deflation always increases the real value of money in an economy.
True. True.
That is correct for 2 points. Adisadel College. A budget surplus means government expenditure exceeds government revenue.
It's false.
It's a false statement, and that is correct for 2 points. St. Augustine's College. Oh, we are done. Okay. Let's give it up to our contesting schools for that wonderful performance. For round 2, Aggrey Memorial and Adisadel College have a tie at 7 points. Let's give it up to them for that wonderful performance. They all got 4 questions correct, 8, 1 wrong, minus 1. St. Augustine's College got all 5 questions correct for 10 points. Let's give it up to them for that wonderful performance. Problem of the day. Are you ready with your... I'm told the school wants to effect substitution. The new contestants, let's welcome them with a round of applause. Okay. In 2022, in 2022, Ghana experienced significant macroeconomic instability. In 2022, Ghana experienced significant macroeconomic instability, with inflation rising to 54.1%, with inflation rising to 54.1%. Question 1. Define inflation. Define inflation. Question 2. Explain two underlying causes of the high inflation rates Ghana experienced in 2022. Explain two underlying causes of the high inflation rates Ghana experienced in 2022. Three. Suggest and explain briefly two fiscal policy tools. Suggest and explain briefly two fiscal policy tools the government could have used to tame inflation in 2022. You have 15 minutes. The time is 1:44. You stop work at 1:59. Start work. Write the name of your school on top of your answer booklet. Scarcity means choice where I reside. What basic concept can be denied? Who am I?
Opportunity cost.
That is correct for 3 points. Next to Adisadel College. I track the wealth a nation makes in income earned and profit stakes. When all is tallied, final and neat, what statistic makes GDP complete?
Depreciation.
I'm sorry, that is not correct. I track the wealth a nation makes in income earned and profit stakes. When all is tallied, final and neat, what statistic makes GDP complete? To the audience. What? National income. Let's give it up to him for 0 points. National income. Okay, the last round of questions, starting with St. Augustine's College. Imports rise, exports drop. My value makes the nation stop. Yes?
Balance of trade deficit.
Yes?
Balance of trade deficit.
That is correct for 4 points. Second clue, 4 points. 4 points to St. Augustine's College. Next to Aggrey Memorial. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. Low rates I bring when times are tough. My rise slows loans when cash is enough. Central banks use me to steer the tide. What am I? With interest as my guide.
Bank rate.
I am sorry. Monetary policy. Monetary policy. Or if you had said monetary policy rate, I would have given it to you. Okay, the last two are Adisadel College. Lumps of tax or payments tall. You pay me whether rich or small. Fair to all, some disagree. Which tax ignores ability?
Proportional tax.
I am sorry. That is not correct. Regressive tax system. Regressive tax system. Regressive tax system ignores the ability to pay principal. And that brings us to the end of the contest. Let's give that to the contesting schools for that wonderful performance. And at the end of the contest, Adisadel College had 29 points. Let's give it up to them for that wonderful performance. Aggrey Memorial had 32 points. And St. Augustine won the contest with 42 points. Let's give it up to St. Augustine's for that performance. Congrats, St. Augustine's, for winning the contest and qualifying to the very final round to determine the regional champion for the Central Region of Ghana. The next contest continues immediately between St. Augustine's College and winners of the first contests.